First News starts now.
Today is the First Alert Weather Impact Day. Coming up, I'll show you when rain will begin in your community and how long you'll need to keep the umbrella at hand.
The reality of undoing this now is going to have to be taken with a scalpel to figure out what that means for folks.
Missouri State Tax Commission orders Jackson County to pay back its residents for sky-high property assessments. We'll explain the next steps for the county.
It's a way to upgrade a system that the community has said that they want upgraded.
The Kansas City Public School District is rolling out high-tech buses for the new school year. The new features, the district says, are making parents and drivers happy. Good Thursday morning, and thanks so much for waking up with us on First News. I'm Jamie Weiss.
I'm Cody Holyoke. Good morning, Kansas City. Good morning, Nick Bender. Watching an impact head our way here.
It is. We've upgraded to an impact day because of this large area of rain that is just steadily marching eastward out of Kansas and getting ready to cross over state line in many spots like here in St. Joseph. Also there near Leavenworth, KCK, Olathe. That's the leading edge of the rain. There are a few showers out ahead of this just along and north of 36 Highway near Cameron, Bethany, and Trenton. Tracking this larger area of downpours, and there's some embedded lightning there near Ottawa down to Garnett. Moving eastward will be in Independence at 6:10, Liberty at 6:11, Blue Springs. You need to get ready for rain by 6:25, Harrisonville at 6:30, Butler 7 o'clock this morning, and Higginsville and Warrensburg at about 7:15. So those are the times when it'll start raining in your community, when you need to be ready for those downpours lasting through about 11 o'clock. So it's looking more like a rainy morning with the rain clearing up by lunchtime and then below normal temperatures for the rest of the day. And we see that trend here on our 12-hour forecast today in Kansas City. Beyond the rainy impacts of this morning, overall drier this afternoon. Just a slim chance of a pop-up shower or storm later this afternoon with below normal temperatures, a high of only 80 degrees.
All right, appreciate the heads up, Nick. Thank you. As we check in on your First Alert traffic, waiting to see the weather's impact on the roadway. So far, so good around the metro. Earlier accident has cleared. That was on I-49. Looks like we might be seeing a bit of a slowdown, though, along 435 by State Line Road. We're going to keep an eye on that and let you know if anything does pop up that could impact your commute.
Right now, the Missouri State Tax Commission is ordering Jackson County to pay back taxpayers who received those sky-high property assessments just last year.
The commission says 75% of assessments were incorrect. KMBC 9's Morgan Mobley joins us live this morning to explain. Hi, Morgan.
Good morning. Well, the order states Jackson County officials failed to follow legal proceedings, including failing to notify residents on necessary inspections, as well as not providing clear information on their rights. So included in the order, the 2023 assessment roll must ensure that assessed values do not exceed 15% above previous valuations, excluding new construction or improvements. Pending appeals must be resolved with valuations conforming to the same limit. Jackson County officials must review and report all 2023 stipulations exceeding the corrected amounts, and they have 30 days to do it.
The reality of undoing this now is going to have to be taken with a scalpel to figure out what that means for folks. Does it mean credits for next year's bill? There's no way we can return dollars. And so financially, I look forward to the administration presenting us with these solutions within this 30-day window.
There is a hearing set for this case at 3 o'clock this afternoon, and we do know there are Jackson County officials who say they're going to fight this order. Reporting in Kansas City, Morgan Mobley, KMBC 9 News.
Jackson County Executive Frank White blasted the tax commission's ruling, saying in a statement, quote, "This reckless order is harmful to not only taxing jurisdictions, but also taxpayers. While fixing decades of mismanagement hasn't been easy, we are committed to fairness and will continue working every day to achieve it. Actions like this do immense harm to our communities."
The State Attorney General's office has filed a motion to dismiss its lawsuit against Jackson County over those assessments. State had claimed County Executive Frank White, Tax Assessor Gail McCann Beatty, and the Board of Equalization broke the law by not properly performing those required property inspections if they were going to raise assessments that high. Now the AG's office says there aren't any more counterclaims or unresolved matters. They say continuing the lawsuit would be a waste of resources. The court has yet to rule on that motion. We'll continue to follow developments involving both the state's lawsuit and this new order from the State Tax Commission. Look for coverage on air and online at KMBC.com.
Two parents charged in the death of a 3-year-old Independence boy were back in court Wednesday. Moses Bass and Destiny Randall are both charged with first-degree child endangerment. A judge denied a motion to charge Bass's bond, to change it, I should say, but they did grant a continuance in Randall's bond hearing because the state plans to present a case to the grand jury. Both are due back in court on August 26th. Their son, Titus, died last week after falling 9 stories from the Independence Towers apartment building. Prosecutors say the couple admitted they knew he could access the window. If convicted, they could face life in prison. The Diocese of Kansas City St. Joseph say they put a deacon on precautionary suspension as it investigates claims of inappropriate sexual contact with a minor. A pending lawsuit accuses Deacon Paul Weiner of misconduct between 1982 and 1984 in the Archdiocese of St. Louis. In a statement, the diocese says the precautionary suspension isn't a punishment or an indication of wrongdoing, but a proactive measure for everyone involved. If you know anything about misconduct by any priests, church employees, or volunteers, you are encouraged to contact authorities. You can also call the Diocese Confidential Report Line at 816-812-2500.
A former paraprofessional with the DeSoto, Kansas School District is now facing charges, accused of having sexual relations with a high school student. Cassidy Alexander worked at Lexington Trails Middle School, and prosecutors say the student was 16 or older. The school district did send parents a statement Wednesday telling families that administrators learned about this inappropriate behavior in May. Alexander was then suspended, then resigned shortly thereafter. Her bond is set at $75,000. Democratic vice presidential nominee Tim Walz is leaning into his Midwestern background as he campaigns in key battleground states.
And on the Republican side, Senator J.D. Vance is using a similar strategy. Jackie DeFusco is in Washington to show us why both campaigns are so focused on the Midwest.
Yeah, Cody, Jamie, the polls in Wisconsin and Michigan are too close for comfort. And on Wednesday, so were the campaigns, nearly crossing paths on the tarmac as they headed to competing events. The now complete Democratic ticket making their case in key swing states.
The path to the White House runs right through this state.
Vice President Kamala Harris rallying in Wisconsin and Michigan just one day after debuting her running mate. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz highlighting his Midwestern roots.
Just like Wisconsin, over in Minnesota, we believe in the Second Amendment, but we also believe in common sense gun violence laws.
Touting Democratic priorities while messaging to moderates. The former teacher and football coach turned a once red district blue when he was elected to Congress in 2006.
I learned how to compromise without compromising my values.
While addressing reporters in Michigan, Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance rejected that narrative.
What Kamala Harris is telling all of us by selecting Tim Walz is that she bends the knee to the far left of the Democrat Party.
The senator from Rust Belt, Ohio, also renewing his appeal to the working class at a manufacturing plant in Wisconsin.
It's important that we make more things right here in the USA.
But experts say it's still unclear if either running mate will expand support.
VP picks usually don't move the needle all that much, maybe in a state or two. But right now, given how close this election is going to be, it could that state or two could be the difference.
Now, in the coming days, attention will shift from the Rust Belt to the Sun Belt, with a new Democratic ticket expected to make stops in battleground Arizona and Nevada, whereas previous events that were scheduled in Georgia and North Carolina have been postponed due to severe weather. Reporting in Washington, I'm Jackie DeFusco, KMBC 9 News.
The latest New York Times polling average shows Harris had a slight edge in Wisconsin, while Trump has the lead in Pennsylvania. The race is tied in Michigan.
6:08, Nick's watching the rain move in. What is the impact this morning, Nick?
Rain and some embedded lightning, not anticipating any severe weather, but steady rain now through about 11 o'clock this morning, marching from the west to the east, so you will need your rain gear this morning. This afternoon, mostly cloudy, drier conditions prevailing with the exception of a pop-up shower or storm. Overnight into tomorrow morning, as the temperatures drop, cooler and drier air arriving with this morning's rain. We could have a foggy Friday morning, and certainly one that feels a little bit more like a early fall morning, with temperatures dipping into the 50s on Friday and Saturday mornings. A record low is possible on Saturday. Look at the highs. Friday and Saturday high temperatures mid to upper 70s. The normal high this time of year is 89 degrees. We won't be anywhere near that. There certainly will be an autumn feel to the air as we head into the weekend, Friday and Saturday. Let's go to News Shopper Dine's Johnny Rollins.
All right, Nick, thanks a lot. It is 6:08. Taking a look at your first alert traffic in search of a stalled car. Reported on the east side. This is going to be I-70 near 470, and we've had some problems with the scout camera here. But you can see what looks like it's going to be a pretty sunrise on the east side. Different story on the west side. Already some rain coming down. I-70 near K7. But as Nick said, it's pretty light and more of a showery activity situation. So not going to have to worry too much about, I don't think, any ponding or hydroplaning. But we haven't had rain for a while, so a lot of oil and dirt on the road mixing with that rain initially could be kind of slippery to get started with the rush hour here. We'll keep you posted. Johnny Rollins, News Chopper 9, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Johnny. Well, every year we share stories from school districts in the metro that are looking for more bus drivers. But this year, one district says it has more drivers than buses. Kansas City Public Schools can thank these new state-of-the-art buses for drawing in new drivers. This isn't your classic yellow bus either. These school buses are equipped with air conditioning, front and rear safety cameras, and a brand new technology that allows parents to track their students' bus in real time. It's all done through an app. And this is an upgrade for the district that comes at no additional cost to families.
It would be really easy this day and age to look at the national bus shortage and just point at that and say, well, there's not much we can do. This is a strategic situation where we look at a situation where parents have said, this is what we want. We look in the budget and we see how we can make it work. It's really not stopping us from doing anything else. It's a way to upgrade a system that the community has said that they want upgraded.
This year, bus service will be opt-in only. That means parents have to let the district know if they want a bus to pick up their students. So far, 63% of the district has opted in. The Kansas City Chiefs wrap up their last day of practice before their first game of the preseason.
Yeah, yesterday was the players' last day at training camp before they head down to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. Over the past few weeks, the offense has shown flashes of what it can be. But, Saturday is going to be a test, especially for the young guys. We asked quarterback Patrick Mahomes if he has faith in his young receivers like rookie offensive lineman Kingsley Suamataia. It'd be neat if he would try receiving, but I don't think that's going to happen. And Mahomes says he doesn't really have a choice.
I think just him going up against some of the best is going to even bring out the best in him, and that's what you have to expect. And then for everybody, everybody that's going to be out there, and so that's what it's all about. I got to trust in those guys in order to go out there and play the game that I want to play, and so I'll let him go out there and be the football player that he's been all camp.
Though I bet if Kingsley catches the ball, you're not going to be able to knock him down. Chiefs are in Jacksonville Saturday night, taking on the Jaguars. Kickoffs 6 o'clock Kansas City time.
Taylor Swift cancels 3 of her concerts in Europe after authorities say they thwarted a terror plot.
We'll hear from 2 fans from Kansas City who are in Vienna, Austria for one of those shows.
And the Olathe Fire Department is out with a warning after a recent house fire. Next, the tip they say might just save your life.
You'll need an umbrella this morning, but you might need the hoodie or the sweatshirt heading into the weekend. Coming up, I want to show you the mornings that we may set record low temperatures and how long that fall feeling will last.
Today is an impact day. Stay connected with First Alert Weather. KMBC 9 News, leading the way.
It is 6:15 on your Thursday morning as we take a live look over Kansas City. A pretty sunrise coming up over our city, but Nick did upgrade us to a first alert weather impact day. Nick's gonna get you ready for the rain in your community, show you how long it'll last. But right now, Johnny Rollins, as you monitor road conditions, I don't think we're dealing with rain. Oh, I take it back.
Yeah, we are. As a matter of fact, that first picture showing off to the east where we see a little bit of sunshine, but that is where the clouds are just moving in. And if you look in the other direction to the west, well, here's I-70, K7. Talked about it a few minutes ago that we do have some rain showers already coming down through here. And a moment ago, we saw some flashes of lightning, although Nick said those are going to be few and far between. These aren't major thunderstorms by any means, but it's definitely going to be enough to wet down the road and cause problems in that regard. So you can count on it, especially at the onset of the rain where you are, being pretty slippery here initially until enough rain comes down, washes that oil off the road, and then it will be a little bit better. But nothing affects rush hours more than precipitation, and that's what we have for this one. So even with the light traffic we've had for the last couple, 2 or 3 weeks, could still see some slowing this morning. That's why we're here. We'll keep you posted. Johnny Rollins, News Shopper 9, back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Johnny. Taylor Swift canceled 3 concerts in Vienna, Austria after police uncover a terror plot. Police arrested 2 teens they say were radicalized by the Islamic State terror group. One of the suspects, a 17-year-old boy, had just been hired by a company working at the venue. Police say they are not looking for anyone else. This morning, we spoke to some fans in KC who were in Vienna for the show.
Just last night, we were talking about the Chiefs rally and saying, we were very shaken up by that. And if this hadn't been detected and there was an attack at the concert, even if we hadn't been hit by the attack, we would have been so shaken up again.
Yeah, we think they made the right call.
This comes just a week after 3 children in the UK were stabbed to death during an attack on a Taylor Swift-themed dance class. Police arrested a local teen there.
6:17, we're keeping you safe with an important reminder from the Olathe Fire Department. You need to keep your doors inside your home closed in case of a fire. You can actually see in this video a fire damaged parts of a family's home, but there's one bedroom door here. It was a kid's room. See, it was shut. You open it up, the room is virtually untouched. Fire department says in the case of a house fire, closed door helps keep the temperature in the room down and slows the spread of fire and smoke. They say that closed door might save your life or your stuff.
Time now is 6:18, and Republican Senator Josh Hawley is kicking off his re-election campaign.
Yeah, held one of his first campaign events in Smithville last night at Brad's Towing Recovery along 169 Highway, and he told voters to pick him if they want to see a difference made.
But if you want to change the direction of this country, if you want to put Americans back to work, Missourians back to work, if you want to get wages up, if you want to close that border down, if you want to take on Big Pharma, I just humbly ask for your support.
Hawley, again, who's been in office for nearly 6 years, going up against Democrat Lucas Kunce, who won the Democratic nomination Tuesday. During his victory speech, he worked to energize voters against the incumbent.
The people who have taken away our rights and taken power for themselves are not going to give it up. We are going to have to take it back. It's going to take an army that includes everyone in this room and thousands more across this state. Texting, knocking doors, making phone calls.
Hours after the results came down, the Hawley campaign challenged Kunce to a debate. They want to do it at the Missouri State Fair a week from today. Kunce said that he wants any debate to be televised so that voters across the state can watch. We'll, of course, keep you posted.
The Missouri State Fair starts today in Sedalia. There will be an opening day ceremony at 11 and a parade tonight at 6. There's reduced admission for opening day. It is $7 to get in. For kids 12 and under, it's just $2. Tonight's grandstand band is Foreigner. You can learn more at mostatefair.com. And I'm hoping that they can kick things off okay, weather-wise.
Yeah, as the rain kind of pushed through there and then off to the east, I guess.
Well, it's the Missouri State Fair. It's the start of it, so it's going to rain.
Yeah, right.
It's going to rain on the first day. You see a lot of scattered showers out ahead of this big area of downpours across eastern Kansas. Scattered showers there near Cameron, Bethany, Trenton, Chillicothe, over to near, now those aren't showers there in Marshall. Those are likely birds leaving their nest there. You see those circular patterns, how it almost looks like it's a rock being thrown in a pond, those circular rings. Those are birds leaving their leaving the roost there, also down to the south of Sedalia. But this is rain here coming into State Line in Kansas City, moving eastward, reaching Blue Springs at 6:31. You got about 10 more minutes before it's going to start to rain there in Blue Springs, and in Kearney just a few minutes. Pleasant Hill 6:42, Gallatin at 7:02, Higginsville at 7:21, Chillicothe at about 7:40, and Carrollton at 7:42. And there's the possibility of some some lightning strikes as well. No severe weather, but some lightning is possible. You see that rain is almost over to the Truman Sports Complex, or raining for much of our Kansas side here, the metro, and coming into Lee Summit and Blue Springs as I speak. So we've upgraded to an impact day because we are anticipating that rain to have an impact on your routine this morning through about 11 o'clock, and then the rain will start to dissipate around lunchtime. Some lightning is possible, but no severe weather. We look at our 12-hour forecast beyond this morning's rainy impacts. There's just a slim chance of a pop-up later today. Temperatures will remain below normal again with the clouds and the rain, a high of only 80 degrees. Fall-like feelings on the way for the weekend. It's not often we get to say you might need a sweatshirt in the mornings here in early August, but that's what's on the way for tomorrow morning, along with the potential of patchy fog. You see these lows in the low to mid 50s here across Kansas City and highs only in the mid to upper 70s. Rain chances return Sunday into Monday early next week. A lot of students heading back to the classroom. You look at FutureScan's projection of the rain, and this is starting to look like it's going to rain here on Monday morning, still several days out. But over the weekend, just start to think, parents or guardians, about getting your rain gear together for your kids, whether it be rain boots, rain jacket, or umbrella, in case we do upgrade Monday to an impact day for more of a certainty of rain. Cody.
Nick, thank you. Your next trip to the Central Library in downtown KC could include a cup of coffee. We'll show you the special mission of the Nook Coffee Shop.
There's a new coffee shop inside of Kansas City Central Library downtown. It's called The Nook, and it's a partnership with the group Prospect KC. It's running a 16-week program at the coffee shop for people who may not have much work experience or come from low-income backgrounds. We spoke with one woman who says this is her first job.
It's added value because it made me more structured. And not only that, but just to count my blessings each and every day.
You can visit the Nook from 9 a.m. till 2 p.m. Monday through Friday.
You have a chance to help kids cross the metro while going to the grocery store this week.
KMBC9 Cares for Kids is stuffing the bus with school supplies, all for Operation Breakthrough. Our crews are going to be at different Hy-Vees across the metro. Today, the first student bus will be at the Hy-Vee in Independence on South Nolan Road. You can bring your donations anytime until 5 this evening. You can also make a cash donation to Operation Breakthrough right now by scanning this QR code on your screen or by visiting kmbc.com/community.
626, Missouri State Tax Commission orders Jackson County to pay back taxpayers hit by sky-high property assessments. We'll look at the challenges that poses for the county.
And as we take a live look over Kansas City, the sun is rising. A beautiful start to the day. On the Missouri side of the metro, Kansas side already seeing some rain. Nick Bender breaks down the impacts on this impact day when we come back.
KMBC 9 First News starts now.
Today is the First Alert Weather Impact Day. Coming up, I'll show you when the rain will begin in your community and how long you'll have to keep the umbrella at hand today.
We don't have this money anymore, right? How we unwind this, what that's going to look like, is the next step.
The Missouri State Tax Commission sides with Jackson County taxpayers when it comes to last year's sky-high property assessments. The order it's given to the county.
The Plaza, we're talking about Crossroads, we're talking about Hospital Hill, we're talking about Midtown, we're talking about the Northeast. It's widespread, it's a city issue.
We're tracking a concerning uptick in break-ins that specifically affect local restaurants. We'll hear the call to action from business owners today. Good morning. Thanks for joining us this Thursday. I'm Cody Holyoke.
And I'm Jamie Weiss. First Alert meteorologist Nick Bender getting us ready for the morning. Impact Day. Already starting to see some rain on the Kansas side move in.
Yes, I mean, it's rain right now. I just popped my head outside the studios. It's a beautiful looking sunrise. I mean, you got this red sky, you got this gentle rain that's just starting to fall. I mean, it's kind of it's a really cool morning, even if you're not a weather nerd like me. It's just kind of pretty. And there was a rainbow. It was just tried to pop up over Kansas City. It's dissipating. Yeah, it looks like it's dissipated just a bit. Thanks, Ryan. It was right there in the middle. You got to have just the right conditions for that. But that rain that's off in the distance moving in. So here it is on First Alert Future Scan or First Alert Live radar. You see a few showers out ahead of the main body of the rain, or the heavier rain and downpours with some embedded lightning. A few showers near Trenton, Chillicothe. Also there just to the west of Carrollton. Those little circles that you see there near Marshall, Carrollton, just south of Sedalia. Those are birds leaving their roost that we're picking up on the radar. But this is rain that is spread across Kansas City moving eastward. Blue Springs, it's just now starting to rain there. Higginsville 721. Chillicothe 739, Clinton at 743. And you see that rain has pretty much enveloped much of the 435 loop this morning. So as we look at the impact for today, it's going to be rain likely through much of the morning and then dissipating over lunchtime. Johnny, beyond this morning's rainy impacts, as we look ahead on that 12-hour forecast for later today, overall much drier conditions.
Okay, thanks so much, Nick. Yeah, I'm wondering, too, if, and I'll ask you later, if the rain is going to add to maybe some more humidity this afternoon. But one way or the other, so far it hasn't been a factor for us driving in. But here's a look at I-70. This is just after you pass 435 on the Kansas side. This is going to be the eastbound run headed for downtown from New West. The Legends points to the West, Bonner Springs and such. And so you can see enough precipitation for there to be a little spray off the road. Now, we're not talking about downpours by any means, but as we've talked about before, it's when the rain starts, the onset of precipitation, rain specifically, is when it's going to be a little bit slippery because of that oil and stuff that's accumulated on the highway over the last, week or so that we haven't had any rain. So be on the lookout for that, but right now it doesn't seem to be a factor. And again, we're expecting still to see some pretty light traffic as vacation time's still going on here just ahead of when school starts. Johnny Rollins, News Chopper 9, back to you in the studio.
Be here before you know it, Johnny. Thank you. Missouri State Tax Commission orders Jackson County to pay back its taxpayers.
The commission says 75% of 2023 property assessments were incorrect. KMBC 9's Morgan Mobley joins us live this morning, watching what this could mean for thousands of property owners. Morgan?
Good morning. Well, all residential properties whose values increased by more than 15% will now have to be rolled back to that 15% increase level. This is really big because we've reported on a lot of residents who saw their value double or even triple in this assessment. The order states that Jackson County officials failed to follow legal procedures for property valuations, including not notifying property owners about required inspections and not providing clear information on their rights. The commission's order to Jackson County includes the 2023 assessment roll must ensure that assessed values do not exceed 15% above previous valuations, excluding new construction or improvements. Pending appeals must be resolved with valuations conforming to the same limit. Jackson County officials must review and report all 2023 stipulations exceeding the corrected limits. Jackson County legislator Sean Smith, an outspoken critic of the assessment process, expects county officials and attorneys to fight the ruling, but hopes they don't.
My goal is to get our county attorneys on board, and I hope that my fellow legislators will go along with this, so that instead of continuing to fight against the taxpayers and best interest of our county, they will step up and say, okay, we will help you comply with the law.
Now, Jackson County officials have 30 days to notify the State Tax Commission of all property valuations that exceed this limit. Reporting live in Kansas City, Morgan Mobley, KMBC 9 News.
Morgan, thanks. We know Jackson County Assessor Gail McCann Beatty says her office will fight the ruling. In a charged statement, she wrote, for too long, far too many homes have been undervalued, forcing others to overpay. We cannot and will not allow this injustice to continue. She went on to write, we will do our jobs and uphold the law by assessing properties at market value, regardless of these political games. Stay tuned to First News. In our next half hour on KCWE, we're going to be hearing from Jackson County legislator Manny Abarca about the state of Missouri's lawsuit against the county and this tax decision that just came down. KMBC 9 News has covered this story from the start, tracking your tax dollars. You can watch our reporting on air and online at KMBC.com.
Restaurant owners in Kansas City, Missouri are saying enough is enough. Over the weekend, more than half a dozen restaurants were damaged by criminals. This has been a problem for a while. KC police released this video of 2 criminals firebombing Haha's Kebabs and Shawarma. This was on West 39th and Wyandotte Street on July 8th. Investigators are hoping someone can identify them. The Greater Kansas City Restaurant Association says 7 restaurants were hit on Monday, and these attacks are happening all over the city. Owners are reporting these crimes, but police are struggling with staffing, and that's leading to a lot of frustration.
The community is saying, hey, can I come board up your window? The community. Where are our leaders?
Small business owners are going to be surviving this, whatever is going on, and I hope it's going to end.
If you know anything about these crimes, officers encourage you to reach out to the Crime Stoppers Tips Hotline at 816-474-TIPS.
The race for the White House is in full swing as both campaigns battle for votes in the Midwest. Vice President Kamala Harris and the man looking to take her current job, Senator J.D. Vance, were even at the same airport at the same time. ABC's Perry Russom's watching the story.
This morning, a swing state blitz in the Midwest. Vice President Kamala Harris and Governor Tim Walz in Michigan with their largest rally of the race so far.
Do we believe in the promise of America?
President Trump's running mate, Senator J.D. Vance, who served in the Marine Corps, now questioning Walz's military record after he said this about gun restrictions.
And we can make sure that those weapons of war that I carried in war is the only place where those weapons are at.
Walz served in the Army National Guard for 24 years and acknowledges he did not see active combat.
I think the evidence at this point is overwhelming that he lied about serving in a combat zone.
Walz retired from the National Guard in 2005, 2 months before his unit was deployed to Iraq. He then ran for Congress, where he was a vocal critic of the Bush administration's war policies. The Harris campaign saying Governor Walz would never insult or undermine any American service to this country. During the primary in Michigan, President Biden faced a wave of uncommitted votes for his response to the war in Gaza. Leaders of that movement tell ABC News they briefly spoke with Harris yesterday, saying they want her to consider a weapons embargo on Israel. The Harris campaign says the vice president has prioritized engaging with Arab, Muslim, and Palestinian community members about the war in Gaza, adding she will always work to ensure Israel is able to defend itself. Harris facing pro-Palestinian protesters at her rally in Michigan.
You know what? If you want Donald Trump to win, then say that, otherwise I'm speaking.
Former President Trump says a new debate with Harris will be announced soon, but he did not say more than that. It comes after Trump backed out of a debate in September on ABC. Perry Russom, ABC News, Washington.
Tropical storm Debbie is moving up the East Coast, now slamming South Carolina. This is video from Myrtle Beach. The National Hurricane Center says the storm will bring more rain to parts of the state that are already flooded. People in Florida are out of the storm, but they are still dealing with the flooding.
We don't know where it's going. Do you know where it's going? I don't know where this water is going.
It's going down very slowly, so it's going somewhere.
I've been marking our driveway with my 3-year-old sidewalk chalk.
There's nowhere for it to go, and it's just like sitting still, standing water.
Heavy rain is expected along portions of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast through Saturday morning. Volunteers from an animal search and rescue team in Paola, Kansas are getting ready to help. ASAR training and response will help find and care for animals impacted by flooding. Volunteers will be sent to impacted areas in Georgia and the Carolinas.
Back at home, watching the rain start to move in. You saw Jordan out there with the umbrella. Make for a beautiful sunrise.
It is a fiery looking sunrise here in Kansas City, but there's no risk of severe weather this morning. But you will need an umbrella or a rain jacket. It is an impact day. It's raining right now, so that's an easy call. The rain will dissipate by lunchtime, so much of the morning will be rainy. Drier this afternoon, but probably damp and humid. Even with below normal temperatures, still going to feel humid at 80 degrees. Overnight, as drier, cooler air arrives, fog may develop for Friday morning, but look at the lows for tomorrow morning, down into the 50s. So it's going to start to feel more like an early fall day, and the high temperatures Friday and Saturday. My goodness, for early August, 75 degrees on Friday, 77 degrees on Saturday. That is fall-like weather. Late September, early October. No rain chances for Friday and Saturday. The weather does change, though, as we head into early next week as a lot of students head back to school.
Yeah, good point, Nick. Thank you. Public school students in Kansas City, Missouri will be riding back to school this year in style, and they'll be a little bit cooler, too.
Yeah, cooler because of air-conditioned buses. Yes, they exist. I wish they did when we went to school. KCPS is deploying 110 brand new school buses that are equipped not only with AC, but a ton of tech and safety features. They're meant to make the daily commute to school easier for students. The new bus provider, Zoom, has been spending the last week training drivers on how to use the tech on board.
Each driver has these little iPads that they set up in the front, and this is tied to all the different tech and software options that are available. So the kids come in, they have a little card, they sign in, and then the parents on their app can see where their child is, see where their child's bus is. So there's no wondering, where's my kid's bus? Is everything going to be okay? No, they're going to know because they're going to be able to look at their phone and see.
This year, bus service will be opt-in only, meaning parents have to let the district know if they want the buses to pick up their students. So far, 63% of the district has opted in. The Kansas City Chiefs are off the practice field for the next couple of days as they prepare for their first preseason game.
Yeah, team heads to Jacksonville take on the Jaguars. Yesterday in St. Joe, the Chiefs wrapped up their last practice before the game. Head coach Andy Reid says starters like Patrick Mahomes will play one quarter on Saturday. Chiefs take on Jacksonville Saturday night at 6. Then there's still camp, right? They'll be back in the practice field in St. Joe Monday morning at 10:15. Tuesday and Wednesday practices at 9:15. Next Thursday is the final training camp practice in St. Joe, also Military Appreciation Day. That all starts at 8:15.
Online and phone scams are on the rise across the country.
Yeah, Clay County officials just want to keep you from falling victim. We'll share an opportunity to learn more about the warning signs of some common scams.
Raytown track star Quincy Hall is bringing home the gold. Hear from his family after a stunning come-from-behind win in the Olympics 400-meter.
You'll need an umbrella this morning, but this weekend, it's hard to say this, you might need a sweatshirt or hoodie. Coming up, I'll show you when morning lows will dip down near record-setting territory and how long the fall feels will last.
Exclusive First Alert live Doppler radar positioned at New Century Air Center, providing your fastest track as storms approach. KMBC 9 First Alert Weather.
6:44 on your Thursday morning, August 8th. As we look outside, it's cloudy because it's raining. It's First Alert Weather Impact Day because of that. And Nick is going to get us ready for rain where you live and show you how long that'll last. Johnny Rollins is looking at the effect on the roads. How's it going, Johnny?
Yeah, maybe I should change my name. I've been doing traffic so long. Maybe Johnny Rhodes Rollins or something like that. I don't know. All right, let's take a look at your 435 run here on the south side. First Alert traffic, 645. Kind of an interesting picture here with the sun shining and the roads soaked with the rain coming down. So still off to the east. The rain hasn't quite arrived. And really the clouds right now are pretty high in the sky. So that is allowing the sun to kind of shine underneath those as it comes up in the east, and I'm wondering if off to the west we're seeing a rainbow there. But regardless, it's not a factor for us as far as the wet roads are concerned, but I'm a little concerned that inevitably with the rain coming down and the slippery conditions compared to dry roads, we may start to see some activity as far as some accidents are concerned, but at least thankfully so far I haven't seen any of that, and we're in good shape. Johnny Rollins, News Chopper 9, back to you in the studio.
All right, Johnny, thanks for looking out. Clay County is working to keep you safe against scams. Prosecutor's office is holding a series of seminars to show you what to watch out for. They'll all be held in partnership with Mid-Continent Public Library. You need to register ahead of time if you want to go. Prosecutors say these meetings are just a good way to educate, especially older family members, on the dangers of scams.
Scammers will go after whoever they think they can take advantage of. Often we see them trying to take advantage of seniors, right? And they do that for a couple different reasons. First being that seniors often have a nest egg built up over their life. Seniors also can have trouble with reporting.
Prosecuting attorney will give more talks this fall at Mid-Continent Public Libraries. Investigative reporter Matt Fleener has a link to those dates over on his KMBC9 Facebook page if you want to check it out.
Team USA is closing in on 100 medals in the Paris Olympics right now. Competitors have won 94 medals with 27 golds overall. China's in second with 25 golds, followed by Australia with 18 and France with 13. Great Britain, South Korea, and Japan are all tied at 12 apiece.
A kid from the Kansas City area took home Olympic gold yesterday.
We're talking about Raytown South grad Quincy Hall. He took the top prize in the 400 meter yesterday. Hall was trailing going into the final stretch, but was able to make a comeback and took the lead just as he approached the finish line. It was a stunning come from behind win that had social media buzzing. Hall's family is still here in the metro, including his sister Brianna, who was working during the race. She says her job let her and all her coworkers watch Quincy's race. She says she's proud of her brother and everything he's accomplished.
The feeling was so unreal. Like, this is my brother. He worked hard for this. I mean, since he was 5 or 6 running, you know, I got to watch from there on to now, him being 26. So just watching his process is just like, that's mind blowing that my brother went and pulled it off.
So incredible. And throughout the Olympics, we've seen breakdancing, kite surfing, extreme canoeing, and speed climbing. Those are just some of the newest Olympic sports debuting as medal events at the Paris Games.
Hearst Olympic correspondent Fletcher Mackel shows us one climber who's actually racing toward his own unique gold medal.
Cody and Jamie, good morning in Kansas City. If you and your viewers haven't seen speed climbing, check it out. I mean this in all seriousness. The athletes, they look like Spider-Man. They scale the wall so quickly. Team USA climber Sam Watson was superhero-like earlier this week when he set a new world record in a qualifying round. Just 18 years old, this is Watson's first Olympic Games, so he's having fun in playing games.
I wonder if I could get every single person from all of these different delegations to just take a selfie with me.
The idea led him to his own Selfie Olympics.
I don't think I'll get to all 203, I believe, because there's some delegations that have already left.
There are actually 204 nations represented in Paris, and Watson is quite proud of one pick he secured.
A member from Tuvalu, which is a tiny island nation that I looked at where they were entered, and they were only surfing and sailing. And surfing is in Tahiti and sailing is in Marseille. So there's almost no one in Paris.
Wise beyond his teenage years, Watson understands the athletes he's taking selfies with have different cultural and political views. But here at the Olympics, sports brings everyone together.
All of these countries are still humans. They're still Olympians. They're still competitors. And we still share that. So it is really special to get all those.
The climbing events here at the Games wrap up on Saturday. At the Paris Olympics, I'm Fletcher Mackel, KMBC 9 News.
That's really neat. So is this. Last night, Kansas City Royals stopped their recent skid and kept their lead in the wildcard race.
That's thanks in large part to Bobby Baseball.
slams it to center. The wind is blowing in. Rafaela is back.
Bobby Witt Jr. had not one, but 2 Bobby blasts in the game, responsible for 4 of the Royals' 8 runs on the night. Vinny Pasquantino also hit a home run. The Royals beat the Red Sox 8-4.
You're coming to the plate after watching him do his thing, and the Bobby chance just morphed right into Vinny chance and then into Salvi chance. It flows really well. When this place is rocking, how would you describe it?
Yeah, it's great. More importantly, we've got the crosstown rivals coming up on Friday, Saturday, so I'm expecting this place to be full when we look around. So we're excited for that. This place has been packed, and we're pumped for more.
Royals are off today. They'll be back on the field at Kauffman Stadium tomorrow against their cross-state rivals, right? Second half of the I-70 series against the Cardinals begins. Royals won the first 2 games of the series in St. Louis last month. Michael Lorenzo will be on the mound for the Boys in Blue. First pitch tomorrow night at 7:10.
And, you know, it's a good thing that the baseball's not happening right now because we're definitely seeing a lot of rain around the metro.
Sure. We are. That's why we've upgraded today to an impact day, because this rain is going to disrupt your morning routine. Just steadily marching eastward, now crossing over state line. And a lot of the rain is still back over eastern Kansas, making progress quickly, though, to the east. A few showers out ahead of that leading edge near Trenton and Chillicothe. But if we just time when the rain will begin in your community out ahead of this larger area of downpours with some embedded lightning, Pleasant Hill at 7 o'clock. Harrisonville, 7 o'clock. Richmond, 7:10. Butler, 7:23. Chillicothe at about 7:35. And then Higginsville, Carrollton, Warrensburg, and Clinton a little closer to 8 o'clock this morning. So that's when the rain will begin in your community and likely will last through the better part of this morning, likely not clearing out until lunchtime. You can see that rain has enveloped the 435 loop, so the roads are going to be wet this morning. Some lightning is possible, but severe weather is not expected. We look ahead on the 12-hour forecast. Beyond this morning's rainy impacts, there is a slim chance of a pop-up storm later today. Humid, but below normal temperatures with this morning's rain and this afternoon's cloud cover, 80 degrees. And below normal temperatures will continue over the weekend. In fact, it's going to feel a lot like autumn tomorrow and Saturday. Patchy fog tomorrow morning. Look at the lows. 50s across northern Missouri into Kansas City. Maybe cool enough in some spots for a light jacket or a hoodie. 75 degrees on Friday, 77 on Saturday. Normal highs this time of year closer to 90. Sunday, still cool, 79 degrees, but rain chances returning Sunday into early next week when a lot of students are returning to the classroom. Future scans showing increasing confidence in rainy impacts for Monday morning. Now, a lot of this could change, but this is the direction that we're heading here. This is Monday morning into early Monday afternoon. Rain looking more likely, and then summer heat returning by Wednesday through the remainder of the week, with high temperatures reaching into the upper 80s and lower 90s.
This morning, we're learning more about a near tragedy at a Taylor Swift concert in Austria. She canceled 3 shows in Vienna this week after officials arrested 2 teens they say were plotting a terror attack. Good Morning America will explain how authorities learned about the plot and share reaction from fans. That is next on Channel 9.
Jackson County leaders are reacting to an order from the Missouri State Tax Commission requiring them to pay back property owners hit by last year's sky-high assessments. Commission claims 75% of those assessments were incorrect. When First News continues on KCWE, we're going to break down the order, show you how local leaders are responding.
Today is an impact day. We're in it right now. Rain, some lightning is possible. Rain should clear out here by lunchtime. Drier, a little humid for today. Look at Friday and Saturday. Fall feeling. 50s in the morning, 70s for highs in the afternoon. Rain chances return Sunday into early next week as a lot of students head back into the classroom. High temperatures back to typical summer values by Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Right around 90 degrees. It's way too soon to call summer off. It's early August.
Enjoy this while it lasts because we're getting right back into it.
It's rare. It doesn't happen often.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. GMA is next. First News continues over on KCWE.
Stay dry, stay cool. We will see you bright and early tomorrow morning.
KMBZ